This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. So what we're going to be going over today is just the social aspect. That's going to be my portion to cover. So in the social aspect, I'm going to use the Daphne as the example here. So how you're going to go into your social is you're actually going to go into Ratings Tracker, and from Ratings Tracker, you're going to notice a little button at the bottom on the left side of the screen. Or I guess before I continue, can everybody see my screen? Just get
Yes,
some.
it's very small though.
It is very small. I think you might have to enlarge it on your end on the viewing section. Let me see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you see it just fine now? Awesome. All right. So like I was saying before, you're gonna see this little button right here on the left side of the screen, and what this is gonna do is when you click it, it'll take you right into your actual social account. So in here, when we look at the social account as a manager, we're only going to be able to see a couple metrics and just the feed overall. So how is our page doing? How is it performing? And what type of time frame we're looking at? So as we can see here on the social under summary tab, we can get a couple of metrics. So we have total page followers for the time being. So by default, it is only going to be looking at the last week's worth of data. So we can actually go back and click on this little filter. And maybe if we want to look at the last 3 months, we click on that and it's going to autofill that information right here. Okay. We can also look at it by provider. So if we just want to focus on Facebook, Google, Instagram, whichever the case is, we click on the provider and it's going to bring up the information just for that provider itself. We can do a combination of providers. So if we want to look at Facebook and Instagram, click on those two and it'll bring that information here as well. Okay. So again, the metrics is just the page followers, the total posts done by the business. And this is a little score that you get depending on how many engagements you're getting for your post and how often you're posting. So if it's above a 50, then you're doing a pretty good job on your social listings. Engagement is total impressions, is looking at total engagement and the engagement rate. Is everybody familiar with the impressions and what that means?
Hey Derek, it's Vanessa. If you can go ahead and just share that information just so that we're all hearing the same thing, whether we know it or not, we can learn something new.
Absolutely. So total impressions is just people looking at your post, not necessarily engaging on it. So they're just looking at it, they're even scrolling through it. They just took a glance at that post and stopped for a second, and that's going to be counted as an impression. Total engagement is actually somebody engaging with the post, giving you a like, giving you a comment, interacting with it, watching a video. So if you can see that there's 123 impressions here, but only one person was engaging out of those, so that's a missed opportunity. We can see, okay, what are we doing on the post? We're getting eyes on it, but nobody's really engaging with it. So how can we attack that and really look at it a different way? You know, we want to make sure that as many impressions as we're getting, we want to have at least a better engagement rate. As of right now, for whatever post it was, we had 123 impressions and only one person engaged, so that gives us a total of 1% engagement rate. So that's going to give you a little bit more information based on the engagement. A little trick that you can do is if you post a video, any video view is actually going to interact as an engagement, so it'll give you a better engagement rate for your posts.
And just real quick, Derek, managers on the call, you will be able just to view this information. You won't be able to make any changes or updates, but you guys are set as viewers. So we just wanted to show you this part of the dashboard to see how your posts are doing, how they're trending, the engagements, but you won't be able to make any changes on this part of the dashboard.
That is correct.
Yeah, Marissa, thank you for sharing that. Our teams are aware that we're going to continue to post for them with the content they're sending. And then our phase 2 to this is as we grow within the platform, our teams will be able to begin posting. We're targeting the end of this year. But we just have a lot more we'd like to build up and planning to do. So good
Yes.
things to come for our teams.
Awesome.
Great. So based on that information, again, you can see that you are going to have your top performing post. So what this is looking at is how well did the post did based on the engagement rate. So we can actually click on this little drop down arrow here where it says rate, and it'll give you a little bit of a different view. So at first it was filtering it by or sorting it by highest performing post to lowest performing post based on the engagement rate. But if we're not interested on the engagement rate, we can go ahead and look at the impressions. So again, clicking on that, it gives us the highest account of impression based on the post. Again, we have our little video here, but not that many people engage with it. So we want to take a look at why are people not engaging in it, or what's the situation here? How can we better recognize the strategy behind that? Again, you can kind of take a look at your post here. You're not going to be able to interact, but you can see the performance metrics based on that specific post. So you can see the content of the post, and you can scroll down here, and you can look at the total impressions, total engagement, and the engagement rate. How people actually interacted with the post. Did they like it? Were there any hearts? Did they laugh? Were they a little bit upset about the post? Were there any comments? And we can see here that there were a total clicks 6 for so photo views were 5, and somebody clicked on the picture, so that counts as another click. So it gives us great information here based on our post. And the good thing is people received it on a positive way. If people were a little bit neutral, maybe not necessarily knowing what the information was, you'll see like a little bit of a yellow face here. And if people reacted it on a negative way, you'll see a little sad red face.
Derek, can I jump in again? This is Vanessa. What this means to us from our team's perspective is this allows us to see what types of content that we want to continue to send in so that we can post on their social media. So looking at it from the perspective that Derek just showed, if we have a post that's not doing well, we'll want to look at it as, is this the content our viewers want to see, and does it generate the most engagement? So those are the areas that our team will be focusing on so that we can continue to provide the content to our viewers that they're most engaging with, and that's going to ebb and flow based on different trends that we have in the market.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's going to give you the best chance here. You're looking at the engagement rate. So whenever you have a really good post and it does a really good job on the engagement, you can see, okay, why did people react to that in a positive way? And then just kind of strategize from there. Okay, moving on. Does anybody have any question on metrics or top performing before I move on? All right.
Derek, real fast. Teams, this is training for you. So the more questions, the more we all learn together and can evolve on the platform. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't be shy. We want to maximize our time with Marissa and Derek here. So if there's anything, drop it in the chat box or unmute and ask. This is our time with them, and we want to make it as successful as possible for us.
Well said. If anybody does have any question on this and, we're already moved on, you can always go ahead and drop it on the chat box and I can come back and answer your question here. Okay, so now we're going to go into the feed section. So what this is going to show you is basically all your posts and comments in these little small windows. So essentially it's just breaking it down by provider here on the left bottom corner. You can see that it's from Instagram. You can see when it was published. We have some comments. We have the content. So if we click on it, it actually brings us this little pop-up window where we can see, again, the content of that post, and we can go ahead and see if there was any replies. As of right now, there was no replies, but if there were any replies, you'll be able to view them right here. And again, we can click on that performance metric tab and scroll down and see all our engagement information. So as of right now, people probably might not have seen the post as of right now since it was posted 39 minutes ago. But you can kind of take a look at what's the information, how is it received 2 days from now, or something along those lines. Was it engaged in a positive way? Was it higher than the other post? So you can kind of come back here and really look at this information. If you just want to focus on one provider, so let's say we're just focusing on Facebook today, you can go ahead and look at the filters and click on all providers here. Click on the little drop down arrow and select Facebook. And again, it automatically selects everything for you, and that's going to be for Facebook here. Again, this is by default only looking at 1 week's worth of data. So if you want to look at a little bit more of a date range, you click on this little drop down arrow and select last month, last 3 months, last year. Or if you want to just look at maybe 3 weeks or 2 weeks, you can go ahead and select your own range here. And the one thing that I was discussing before, let me go back here and put 3 months. And you can go ahead and actually sort by sentiment. So how did people receive your post? We want to focus on either negative or neutral, and to see why they're taking it in as a negative post or something neutral. For this specific one, I mean, nothing here was taken on a negative way. But if anything was to be coming up and it was negative or received in a negative way, we want to really focus as to why that was received in a negative. Let's look at neutral. We have a couple neutral posts, so people didn't know how to really interact with this post. So again, we can kind of focus on that and look at maybe we need to take a different strategy, or what are we doing for this post that is being received as neutral. And again, positive is going to be the majority of your posts, as it should. You're sharing information, you're sharing what's going on around the property and stuff like that, events. So things should be received in a positive way. So you want to make sure that as you're coming here and you're seeing those neutrals, or if there's any negatives, then again, strategize as to what's going on and how can you make those minimize on these posts. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to cover here is the hashtags. I have a question here. So it says, will it track boosted campaign ad engagement as well? So it will just track the post itself. It's not necessarily that it's going to be an ad campaign or something like that. It's just going to recognize that it's a post. So if you're posting it on Facebook and you're looking at something along the lines of a graphic that you posted, or maybe a video that you posted, it'll just give you the total engagement of that particular post. It's not necessarily going to say that it was an ad campaign or anything like that. That was a great question, Anthony. Okay. So again, on the hashtag metrics, so what this is going to do is actually going to go ahead and give you your overall industry hashtag. So what you're using on your post, what somebody within your same industry is using on their post. But the really cool part about this is that you can actually add your own hashtag. So by clicking on add hashtag, and let's say that you are doing a little campaign, this is where you can kind of have take a little bit of an advantage as to how many times your post is using this particular hashtag. So let's say good morning is going to be our hashtag. Morning. That's going to be our hashtag. And anytime that we use this hashtag on our post, it is going to keep a track of it here. And anybody that's engaging with it on a comment or something along those lines, responding to your post, it's also going to keep track of it right here. So it's going to show you just, is it trending on a positive way? Is it not trending on a positive way? How many times are people interacting with it and stuff like that? So that is a good way to kind of keep a little bit of your hashtags and count here. Okay. And that is going to be the summary and the feed section. Does anybody have any questions for me? Do I need to go over anything else? How are you guys feeling? I know it's Friday morning, so it's a little early as well. Vanessa, do you want me to cover anything else, or are you okay with the information so far?
So far, I think we're good. It may just take us a bit of getting in and looking at it and having the conversations, and there might be questions that come up. If I'm not able to answer them, then we can always reach back out and ping you, or see if there's opportunity within the software that we may not be leveraging that we should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're available whenever you want. You can just go ahead and reach out to us, and we'll give you all the information that you need.
Thank you. And like I said, this is good. This is our first step in a larger vision. So I want our teams to get really comfortable with understanding the analytics and what they're seeing, so then we can build upon the platform and the programs that we have.
Awesome. Yeah, we're really excited for that. All right, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Marissa, it is all you.
Thanks, Derek. Have a good day. He's about to hop off the call, you guys. He has another call to get on. But if you guys do need any questions regarding the social aspect, you can email me, and I will get those questions answered for you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. All right. Well, my name is Marissa. Once again, I'm a trainer here at JTurner. I'm going to go over the two dashboards that we have, Ratings Tracker and the Survey Dashboard. So first of all, the Ratings Tracker dashboard, let's talk about that. This is going to be used where you monitor and manage your online reputation. So you might be asking yourself, maybe you've heard of Aura, or what is Aura? So let's go ahead and talk about what Aura is. So Aura is, it stands for Online Reputation Assessment. This is the digital curb appeal for your community. So what we do is we take all of the star ratings, volume of reviews across 12 review sites, we put it into our algorithm, and we produce a score between 0 and 100. The closer you are to 100, the better your online reputation is. And that's going to be, different for each community. So this is going to be taking into effect. Recency of reviews are going to be a huge aspect in your Aura score. So reviews left within the last 6 months are going to hold a higher weight. Adjustment of skewed sites. Well, this is just talking about, we know Yelp is predominantly a negatively skewed site, so it's not going to hold as much weight. Google is a very good platform for reviews, so they're going to be weighted differently. Also, distribution of reviews. So although Google is a great site to have our reviews on, we want to make sure that we have reviews on multiple sites, not all of our eggs in one basket. So these are the 12 review sites here that you want to focus on getting reviews on. So I encourage everyone, after the call to log on, Google their property, and kind of see what your prospects are seeing. What is your digital curb appeal? I just picked up one for an example. I'm using Prosper Gulfport. So let's just take a look exactly what the Aura score entails. So again, we're taking the search impression of the first 3 pages of a Google search. So we're looking at the star rating. So as you can see, it's 4.2. The volume of reviews. So Google has 155 reviews. And we're looking at those review sites, making sure those reviews are across multiple sites. So again, we have apartment ratings here. We have, the star rating is 4.2 and 286 reviews. So again, we're looking at the volume of reviews, the star rating, and the distribution of reviews across multiple sites. Does anyone have any questions about their Aura score? Okay, so Aura scores are going to be posted on the 4th of every month. So for example, Aura scores are going to come out April 4th, and that's going to be for all of your hard work that you put in for the month of March. So it's very important to log into your dashboard, check to see what your Aura scores. You might be saying, what's in it for me as a property? Well, let's talk about that for a second. So prospects, when they are searching properties online, they're actively searching about 14 properties, and they're narrowing that search down to make that short list of 4 to actually come out and visit. So we want to make sure that we are on that short list and we're putting our best foot forward, and that's basically what our online digital curb appeal is doing. So it's very important that we have our best foot forward online. So I'm just using Belmont Victoria Phase 1 for today's training. So when you log into the dashboard, on the left-hand side, you're going to see this is where you monitor your Aura, the top section, and then we have the review manage where we manage your reviews. So we're going to go through Aura Home. Aura Home is basically going to give you a snapshot of the next few tabs here. It's going to give you an overall summary of DLP Capital. Your Aura score as a company is 69.44, and it's going to benchmark you against the national average. So this is a great way to see, are you trending above the national average, below, or right at? So as a company, you guys are doing a fantastic job. You were almost hitting that 70 point mark, and you're definitely above the national average. we scroll down here, we have the management comps. This has already been selected by your corporate team. So we were able to track the ORA scores of these top management companies. We have the national average, DLP, and then we're tracking Graystar, Hanover, RPM, and so forth. All right, in the top right-hand corner, we have the top properties within our company. And these are the top properties in ORA.
Hey, Merce, it's Vanessa real fast. I want to jump in.
Yeah.
On the benchmarking for DLP Capital as a whole, if anyone on our team is seeing trends that there's another company that we don't have listed here that we're benchmarking against, please reach out to the REM marketing team and let us know so we can add it in here and begin to benchmark ourselves against that if we're seeing any changes from other management groups.
Yes, awesome. So if you guys need to make those changes, just let us know. And we can talk about that on the back side, Vanessa. Adding additional, you can add additional, there's a little bit of a cost, but that's not a problem. We can add it, or if you wanted to replace one of the ones that is already there. All right, so we have the top properties within our company. So you guys are doing a fantastic job. Shout out to these top properties. We're also able to see the bottom properties within our company. The very bottom of this page is going to have the most improved properties. So most improved is basically saying from the previous month, who had the biggest improvement. So for example, DLP Gulf Shores, January, they were at a 68 for their ORA score. In February, they jumped to a 74. So they had a 6-point increase. So great job. We're able to see, those most improved properties. And then we also have the most declined properties. Okay, next tab on the left-hand side is just going to be the Properties tab. So when we log in here, it's going to default, it's going to give us the ORA scores from the national average, DLP Capital, and the top 5 properties in our company. This is going to be the default. We're able to see the charted properties above here, the ORA scores month over month for the past 6 months. And this difference tab here in the right column is going to be the difference if they're trending up or trending down from the previous month. So for managers on the call, you want to be a little bit selfish in this little section. Let's say I am the Belmont Victoria Phase 1. I'm going to go ahead and select my property and click Update Chart. So now when I log into this ratings tracker and I am in Properties tab, it's going to pull up the property graph with the national average, DLP, and then it's going to pull up my property as a property manager. So I can see my ORA score right here, front and center on the chart, and it's going to see the charted down here month over month for the past 6 months. So property managers on the call today, if you had a chance to log into your dashboard, the next one that we're going to cover, this is a very important tab for you. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have after the call. If you guys need help, we're going to be adding your property comps in the property comps tab. So on the left-hand side, we're going to go into property comps. I'm going to give you guys just a few minutes just to log into your dashboard so we can do this together. And just go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a nod whenever you are logged in to your dashboard.
I don't have passwords to get into mine.
Okay, who's speaking?
Michelle from Prosper Orange Beach.
Prosper at Orange Beach?
Yes.
Okay. I'll get that sent to you after today's call.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Have you guys been able to log into the dashboard and then click under property comps so we can walk through this little exercise together?
Team, for everyone that doesn't have a login, all the logins were sent out last week. So if we're having a barrier, please check your spam, and then any logins that anyone doesn't have, please email REM Marketing and we'll compile a list and check if there were filter issues and why you're not receiving them and get that information for you.
Okay, So this property tabs, you guys, you're going to see when you log in, you're going to see the map of the United States, all these little red bubbles here, and you're going to say, what does this mean? Well, all those little red bubbles are the properties within DLP. So from here, we're able to add up to 10 competitors monthly. You can, delete the competitors if they're no longer a competitor, add a new competitor if a new property comes into your region. So this is a very interactive tab for property managers. This is very, very important. So we have this key at the top here. We're going to be able to see properties that are above your ORA score, below your ORA score, or equal to your score in your market. So I'm just going to click on one. Use this as an example. Let's select, I want to do a Florida. Live Port Coral. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And we can see the property name, the management company, and our ORA score. So from here, we can map our competition and add our competitors from this chart, this little map of the United States. But I want to show you this property analytics tab first. Where I'm going to click under property analytics. This is a pretty new tab that we just added in our dashboard. It's very, very pretty cool. So you're going to see the property name, management company, your address, your property ORA score, and then all the properties within a 3-mile radius. So we have 21 properties in a 3-mile radius. We're going to break it down for you and let you know how many properties in that 3-mile radius are above your ORA score, how many are below your ORA score, or equal to your score. If we scroll down, we're also going to see the top nearby properties with their ORA score and management company, and the bottom 5 nearby properties. So it kind of tells you how you're doing in your current market. And then it's a great tool to use as well if you are taking over a property in that market as well. So we're going to go ahead and map the competition. So I'm just going to click map the competition. This is going to bring up all the properties within a 3-mile radius from our property. So we are this big red bubble. Again, you use the key up at the very top. You can see the properties above your ORA score in the dark blue, properties below your ORA score, and in gold equal to your score. So for example, we're going to click on one, Cottage Court. So let's say this is one of our competitors. We're able to see Cottage Court, the management company, and their ORA score. All we have to do is simply click Add to Competitors. When you click Add to Competitors, it's going to bring it down to the chart below. So I'm going to show you guys down here below. Let me add it. And we were Live Port Coral. So now when I see my property here, I can see that I've added a competitor. I'm able to track their ORA score month over month for the last 6 months. So this is a great tool to use, especially if you have prospects going to a specific community. You want to see how they're trending in their online reputation. What's driving the traffic to that particular community? You can also, you guys, select your property at the very bottom here, and just click on this little green button. So if I was Live Shreveport, you can click on this green button and add your competitors this way too. So you just can type in the competitor, whatever the competitor's name is. I'm going to put The Retreat. Just make sure you select the correct city and state, and then you click Finish, and it'll add to your competitors. So once again, you're going to add up to 10 competitors in the Property Comps tab for your community. Do you guys have any questions? I want to answer a question that was in the chat box. Are we able to expand the radius beyond a 3-mile radius? If we have competitors further away? If not, how can we add those manually? So if you have a competitor that you want to add manually, just come down here, click on your little green bubble for your property name, type it in, and then just click Finish. The map here is just going to only show you properties within a 3-mile radius. So if you have something that's sitting just a further out, just go ahead and click on the little green bubble and type in your competitor name here. Great question. So that's the Property Comps tab, you guys. So next tab is going to be the Management Comps. Management Comps, we saw that on the ORA homepage. It's the top management companies that your corporate team has decided to track. So again, it's just going to tell you their ORA score month over month for the past 6 months. we're able to see those chartered community or those chartered management companies down here, and if they're trending up or down from the previous month. All right, we're going to go into the review management section. Before I go into review management, did you guys have any questions regarding Aura, how to add your competitors, anything regarding Aura?
Marissa, I see a lot of head shakes saying they're good to go. So again,
Okay.
if as we continue to use the tool, if there's questions, we'll work through them.
Yes, and this is so much information that we're going to cover, you guys. So I don't expect everyone to remember all of this. So that's what we are here for at JTurner. We are here to help you navigate the dashboard. If you need to pull a certain report, where to find it, we are your go-to people for anything regarding your Aura and your review management.
Marissa,
right,
I think, Marissa, real fast to the team,
Yeah.
the biggest piece of the OR score is one, this is what our prospects are seeing and helping them make decisions on why they want to live in our communities. But two, it's sharing our reputation and why we have the loyalty of the current residents that renew with us. So that's why this is extremely important, why we want to be we're at 70% portfolio wide, but our goal is to be at that OR score of 90. So that's why we're setting the bar high, because we're confident that our communities are the best place for our residents and for our prospects. So that's why there's a lot of emphasis on the ORA score. It's not just because we get graded on it. It's really a large impact in our community and showing why someone would pick our community over a competitor.
Yeah. So I know you guys, a lot of you shop on Amazon, and looking at reviews online, looking at star ratings online, it's so important when you're making your final decision to purchase something. So I mean, just think about it the way the prospects are doing the same. They're searching properties online. They're narrowing it down to their short list, which is going to be about 4 properties to make that commitment to come out and tour. And we want to make sure we are on those prospects short list, and that's based on our online reputation. So that's why it's very important, to make sure that we are tracking our Aura score, see how our online reputation is doing, where we can make improvements, and what we're doing best at, so we can share it with the rest of the communities in our company. All right, let's go into the review management section. So on the left-hand side, I'm on review management, and we're going to go into the analytics tab. So again, I'm under Belmont, Victoria. So when you log into, when you're in your dashboard, you're going to see your specific community. So this analytics tab is going to give you a snapshot of how you're trending online for your reviews and ratings. So it's automatically going to default up here at the top, the last 6 months. So if you wanted to dive into, let's just say something, let's say from March to April, we can change and filter by that date. So we can change March 1st. We're going to just click OK. So now our date's going to be March 1st to April 1st, and we can apply that filter. So now we just are going to focus on this date time. You can also filter by review site. So we have Facebook and Google, but if you just wanted to focus on Google, you can also filter by one review site. It's going to give you an overall star rating of how you are doing for this particular date range at the top and how many reviews you received. It's also going to break it down by the star rating of the reviews. So of these 2 reviews, how many were 5-star, 4-star, and so forth. So great job, Belmont. You guys have 2 5-star reviews, outstanding. You're also going to show the ratings breakdown. So for each of that time period, it's going to show you of those reviews from March to April, what was the sentiment of those reviews.
Hey, Marissa, I just want to jump in real quick. Our team does a great job of asking for reviews. So I want to share with them, we're layering in a large part of the surveys that are coming through JTurner, and how this is supporting us is after every survey taken by a resident or a prospect or maintenance, they get an automatic pop-up that says, leave us a review. Right. So what you guys are doing on property with our review cards and asking for individuals, whether it's prospect, move in, move out, maintenance, to share their feedback, we're also supporting that with an automated just click to support what you guys are doing at the individual property. So the goal is to have that support so that we can continue to maintain our star rating at the 4.5 for this year. And of course, our goal is always to get to the five star, 5.0 across the board. So it's going to be really advantageous that we stay focused on this, because this also is what's driving our ORA score.
Absolutely. Okay, you guys. So on the same snapshot screen that we're able to see the number of reviews month over month. We can break it down by percentage of responses, the average star rating, average responses pending approval, and then any problem responses that we have. The next tab here at the top is the benchmark tab. So you're able to benchmark your review sites. So it's going to tell you, again, it's going to default for the last 6 months. You can filter by review site. You can change the graph from a line graph to a bar graph if that's easier to read. And then you have the data, so it will show you number of reviews, percentage of responses, average star rating, and so forth. You're able to download this data, and it'll be in a pretty report, especially if you had to, turn it in to your owners or regional managers to see how well you're doing. And you're able to see our review sites here. So once you select the review site, it will turn into this little blue bubble around the review site, and you're able to benchmark and track the number of reviews, again, the star rating for month over month for the past 6 months or a year, depending on the time frame that you've chosen. Any questions so far?
Does this take into account like the reviews that are on apartmentratings.com, or is this just like on Facebook and Instagram or surveys?
So we're going to go over the survey. That's a whole nother dashboard. We'll go over surveys in just a second. But your reviews are going to be all of the reviews that come through the review site. So whether that's Facebook, apartments.com, apartment ratings, Google, they're all going to be listed here under the review management.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
Yes.
Krista, we had a question in the chat box asking if the reviews are coming in live or if there's a delay when they come in, and what is the timing of that delay? So essentially, is it a live? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You're fine.
Yeah, great question, Anthony. The reviews, depending on the review site, they all come through an API. So, for example, Google, it's all going to be, that one will come immediately. Other ones may take, a few hours, depending on the feed that they're coming into the review sites. So it could be anywhere from immediate to up to 24 hours, depending on the review site. Great question. Okay, lastly, you guys, it's going to be the rankings tab here at the top. So we're going to be able to see, again, it's going to default the last 6 months for our particular community. We're going to see Belmont, the number of reviews for that time period, data at the top, how many reviews we've received, the response rate, the average star rating, and any responses pending approval. Okay, now we're going to go into the review section. This is going to tell you all the reviews that are coming into the dashboard for your particular community. So it's going to tell you the date of the review, your community name here, the review site the review came in on, the reviewer name, and then the review and the response is going to be listed here. It's going to give you the average or the star rating of that review. So I know your corporate team is responding to all of your reviews, but if they ask you, hey, give me some feedback based on this, resident, this resident saying X, Y, and Z, you're able to come to the dashboard, see what that resident left you, see the reviews that are being left about your community. Another great practice too, if you see, a resident leaving you a review on, let's say, Facebook, and it's a 5-star review, you can reach out to that resident and say, thank you so much for the amazing reviews you left on our Facebook page. Do you mind sharing that feedback on our Google page? We have clients that do that, and that's going to boost your online reputation, your Aura score. So having that reviewer share that feedback on another site as well is a great way to impact your online reputation. You're able to filter here at the top a date range if you wanted to filter back from a particular date range. Your property name is going to be listed here, and then your review sites are here. You can also filter by star rating. So if you wanted to focus on maybe your 1 and 2 star reviews, so we'll select 1 and 2 star. We're going to click apply filters, and now we're able to see all of our 1 and 2 star reviews. And all we got to do is click reset filters, and we're back to the default section. Any questions on this? I know you guys aren't going to be responding, but that way you know where to go to see what your residents or prospects are saying about your community. Give your corporate team any feedback that they may need to make the response. Do you guys have any questions? Okay. We're going to go into the keyword section here on the left-hand side. And this is a cool little feature that we have. So you can filter over the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and so forth. This is going to tell you all of the words that were listed within the review. So the bigger and bolder the word is, the more oftentimes it was used in a review. So this is going to be within the last 30 days. If we do an all-time data, we'll have a big keyword cloud. If it's in green, it's going to be a 4 or 5 star review. If it's in red, it's a negative. It's going to be a 1 or 2 star review. And if it's in orange, it's going to be a neutral, a 3 star review. So great job on this property because all I see is green. So like I said, the bigger and bolder the word is, the more oftentimes it was used. I have seen it where a leasing agent's name was big and bold and green. So outstanding job. Her name's been listed and mentioned in those reviews over and over again. You can click on the word and it's going to bring up every review that had the word work listed within it. So you can kind of track and see how you're trending. Maybe there's an area of opportunity. Let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something. Pet waste. If pet waste was big, bold, and red, we would know that we have an opportunity at our community to focus in on pet waste. Obviously, there's a lot of people saying something about pet waste on our review, so we want to focus in on that and make some changes there. Okay, and lastly, we have the trend report here. And I have one already pulled up for you because it does take a little bit of time. Let me see here. Hopefully it pulled up. Here we go. So a trend report, it's going to give you an all-time data. It's going to be year to date, but it's going to have your property name listed at the top. It's going to tell you the number of reviews. This is year to date. It's going to give you the overall sentiment of each review. So positive, negative, and neutral, the number of reviews, and the response rate for each of those reviews. It's also going to break it down for star rating and by review site. So for Google, the number of reviews received, the average star rating for Google, and the response rate. It's going to break it down even further. It's going to give you month over month for those reviews. So we can see what of our biggest months are. Obviously, we just rolled into April, so reviews 0 to April 1st. But we can see what our biggest month is. So far, March was our biggest month. We had 3 reviews. It's going to give you the sentiment, how many of those reviews were positive, neutral, and negative, and then the average star rating. So it's a great thing to do, a report to pull. It's the trend report. You're able to see, especially if you do have a review campaign where you're pushing reviews. Maybe you had August was a really good month last year, and you can kind of see you had 15 reviews come in August, and you can kind of go back and say, what did we do in August that we received all of these reviews, and maybe we want to do that again for a future month. So that's going to be on the trend report. Any questions, you guys, over the ratings tracker? We're going to dive into the survey dashboard. Okay, so I know we're kind of pressed on time, so I don't want to go through this too quickly, but I do want to make sure that you guys are able to open up your offices for today. So we're just going to do some high-level training on the dashboard. We'll circle back in about 45 days to have a refresher training for anyone that wants to have a refresher on either dashboard, and then we'll do a little bit deeper dive into some key metrics. So you're able to filter back and forth the dashboards at the very top in this black bar, so you can click onto ratings tracker and then the survey dashboard. The survey dashboard is used to gauge how loyal our residents are, how happy our residents are. So we have surveys that we sent out And we're going to dive into the first survey here. Tally surveys. Tally stands for Turner Apartment Loyalty Index. These are your resident surveys. So we're able to see year to date, number of surveys we've received, and then we're going to see the benchmarking, how we benchmark against the national average. So for this property, you are above the national average. Great job. Again, this is going to be year to date. We also have the rolling 3 months. So the tally surveys are going to be sent out. These are the resident surveys, are going to be sent out once a month to 16% of your community. So they'll receive a survey be sent. They shouldn't receive more than 2 surveys a year. We did have a baseline launch, which is basically we're surveying all of your residents on a one-time launch, which was on the 22nd of March. Going forward, we will skip a month and then resume the surveys back starting again in May. All right, and then now we have the property index surveys. Property index is your prospect surveys. So prospect surveys are going to be sent out weekly for all of the prospects that had toured our community from the previous week. Now, prospect surveys are going to be anyone who has physically toured our community. So again, we have the year to date, and then we also have the rolling 3 months. If we scroll over, we have the non-visitor surveys. Non-visitor is just like the prospect surveys. They're sent out weekly for all of the prospects from the previous week. However, non-visitor surveys are someone who has not physically toured our community. They may have gathered information online, they may have called, or they have done a virtual tour. I'm going to arrow over here. We have the work order surveys. So work order surveys are going to be sent out weekly, and those are for all of the work orders that were closed out from the previous week. So if there's a work order that's still pending, maybe you're waiting on parts, that particular resident will not receive a work order survey until it is completed. You have the move-in surveys. Move-in surveys are going to be sent out 30 days after a resident has moved in. And then we have the lease renewal surveys. Lease renewals, again, you have year to date, rolling 3 months. These will be sent out for anyone's lease that is expiring within the next 90 days. And then lastly, we have the move out surveys. Move out surveys are going to be sent out to all of our move outs within 30 days of their move out. I have a question from Emily. Are surveys sent through app folio for maintenance requests completed, and do they tie into the score? So I don't know what the app folio is. I'm not sure what that is, but it's going to be all the maintenance requests are going to be sent out for all of the completed maintenance requests from the previous week, and they're not tied into your tally score. They're going to be in your work order survey score.
Hey, Marissa, it's Vanessa. AppFolio is our database where you guys are pulling those data points to send out the surveys. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
yes, to answer the question Emily has, they will be pulling the data points from AppFolio that are triggered by the date that the maintenance request is completed.
Yes. If we scroll down on this homepage, we'll also see our top properties with tally. We can click view all and see how you are trending against your sister communities. So I'm just going to dive into, we're going to go into surveys. We're going to go into resident. And you can do this for any of these surveys. So you're going to have the submit date of the survey, the date the survey was completed. The next column here, you're going to have, I'm going to show you these icons here. If you see a little envelope, that means you have requested contact on an anonymous survey. If you see a black bubble, there is a customized comment left within the survey. A pencil is indicating that you have left a note within the survey. And then this big red circle with exclamation point is a red alert. Red alerts are surveys that have requested contact from the office. So when we send out the resident surveys, they're sent out anonymously. They're designed that way to get the most raw and authentic feedback. However, about 5% of the surveys come back not anonymous, and those are the red alerts because they have requested contact from the management office. Best practice is to be closing these red alerts out within 24 business hours. And once we close them out, they'll then turn to a green circle with a check mark. we're going to see our community name here and then our tally score here. So let's just go and dive into one. We have a red alert here. So all we're going to do is click on our property name here, and it's going to bring up the survey. Now, these 4 questions make up the tally score. Please tell us how we're doing, interactions with community personnel, value of prices to property, and the willingness to refer. The remaining questions on the survey are going to gauge how loyal our residents are and how satisfied our residents are, so our resident satisfaction. What does value of price mean to you? We're going to be asking them, does the manager or someone from the staff know who I am? The condition of my apartment, does it meet my expectations? We're going to ask them the lighting, is it adequate in the common areas? Is the landscaping clean and well maintained? They're able to leave any suggestions and comments within the survey. And if we scroll down, we see request contact from management. This particular resident said yes, so now they're prompted to leave their name, unit number, preferred way to contact, and so forth. They can list any questions or concerns that they may have. So this was a positive scoring survey, so not all red alerts are a negative survey, but we do want to make sure that we're closing that red alert out. So how do we close that red alert out? We can simply, it says preferred way to contact, text or email. We can click on the email. It'll pull this little box. We're able to type in a customized email to that resident. Thank you so much for your feedback. I do want to address any concerns. Maybe that their question and concern was cable television choices. Maybe give them the answer here or have them call the office. Once we click send, it'll then close out that red alert. If, for example, they wanted us to contact them by phone, and they left their phone number, we can call that particular resident. Once we do, we can come down here, make notes within the survey, contacted, phone the resident, let her know about the choices for cable television or whatever the situation may be. And then we'll click change status to be contacted. That will close out the red alert if we contacted them by phone. Any questions on how to close out a red alert? Okay, I know we're almost pressed for time, so I'm going to just kind of hurry it up a little bit. I'm going to go and we're going to go and request contact from an anonymous survey. So let's pick one. This is one here. So March 26th, we have a customized comment. We see the tally score. So let's go ahead and dive into this one really quick. So again, we have the first 4 questions that are making up that tally score. The remaining questions are going to remain the same. However, when it says at the very bottom, request contact from management, they said no thanks. So now they're not prompted to leave their name, unit number, preferred way to contact. Let's just say this particular resident said, they were, their toilet is leaking and it hasn't been fixed, because I've seen this before, it hasn't been fixed in a few weeks. And this is an anonymous survey. So how do we reach out to that resident to know, hey, we've heard your concern, your maintenance request, but I want to make sure that we, get this taken care of for you. So what we can do if it's an anonymous survey is at the very top of the survey, we have this little envelope icon. All we simply got to do is click on the envelope icon, type in a message, thank you so much for, your feedback on your survey. I do want to address the toilet that is leaking and put in a maintenance request. Can you please, let me know what unit number you're in, XYZ. And then you click send. This will send a email to that resident. I think I have a sample one here. Here's a sample contact, requesting contact from the anonymous survey. So it's going to say you recently completed a resident satisfaction survey at your, it's going to give you your property name here. After reviewing your survey, the property management at your property would like to discuss feedback. If you're agreeable, to simply reply to this email. So this is a way we can communicate with the resident if they leave anonymous survey, especially if there's something that we need to address right away. Maybe they're saying that there's mold in the apartment, but there's no way to figure out who exactly that resident is. I have a question in the chat box. Let's see. If there's a red alert and we contact the resident, and is there a way, and there's a positive outcome, is there a way to trigger a survey to provide a review? So great question. Anthony, you were on top of it this morning. Thank you. So for your resident surveys, so we've learned how to close out a red alert. We've learned how to request contact from an anonymous survey. On your resident surveys, these are your tally surveys. Once the resident completes the survey, they're going to be sent it's called a push link. This is just a sample one, so this is not yours. Yours is going to be Google and Facebook only, but they're going to say thank you for your feedback. Please spread the word. Tell us how we're doing. So once they complete the resident survey, they will be then at the end of the survey asked to leave a review on either Google or Facebook. So great question, Anthony.
Marissa, we actually have
Yes.
this set up for all surveys, correct? That was what
Oh.
the initial setup was, is that we actually have this push to leave us feedback on every one of the surveys, which is move in, move out, resident survey, prospect survey, and maintenance surveys. So at the end of every survey, they will receive, please provide us feedback and leave us a review.
Okay, I will double check on that for sure. Absolutely. And then I'll circle back with you, Vanessa. But this is a great way to get your residents, prospects to leave your reviews online, and it's going to be sent to either Google or Facebook. And all they simply have to do is click on the Google or click on the Facebook icon. So great question. I'm going to go back really quick. So, we want to dive in and make sure, are we missing anything that our residents are saying? Is there, our residents are our eyes and ears of our community. As property managers, we can't be on every corner of our community. As we know, we're super, super busy. So we can dive in and read the comments of the survey. So simply, we'd have to click onto each survey to read the comment listed within the survey, or there's a little shortcut here. We're into the resident surveys. All we have to do is click where it says comments. And it's going to give us all of the surveys that have comments listed within them. So it's going to have the submit date, our property name, and then all of the comments and the scoring of that survey. So if there was something that we needed to address, we can kind of dive in. You can dive into that particular survey by just clicking on the submit date, and it'll bring you right up to that survey to see how you scored on the rest of the questions. You can also export this to a CSV file. So if you wanted to, really dive in and kind of dissect what your residents are saying, you're able to do that as well. Just click right here where it says export result as CSV. All right, I want to quickly go into the prospect survey, just kind of show you guys really quick on that. So the prospect surveys are not anonymous because we have already gathered their information. We have their email address, phone number, and so forth. But it's going to be very similar. We have the submit date. We have any comments listed within the survey, our property name here, the leasing agent, and then our scoring indexes here. So Belmont, Victoria, great job. You scored a 10 on this one. So I'm going to just click on our property name here to dive into the survey. So this is a prospect survey. We're able to see our property name here, the date of the visit, the leasing agent toured them would be listed here, their email address. We're going to be asking them their leasing situation. What is their current leasing situation? This particular prospect has decided to lease this property. Amazing. So leasing agent's presentation community 9, outstanding. We're going to have a leasing index question. So was the greeting warm and inviting? The leasing agent was concerned about my well-being. Were all of their questions and concerns handled by the leasing agent? Value perception is going to be talking about the value. Rent of this property, is it competitive with rent I've seen at other properties? How well is your leasing agent selling your community? Maybe you don't have all the bells and whistles. That is totally fine. But what you do have, are they highlighting those aspects of your community? And then does this seem to be the best property that I have visited for my apartment search? Physical marketability is going to be talking about the model or unit. Was it immaculately clean? Sorry, you guys. The grounds, pool landscaping, and does it have all the amenities that they're looking for? They're able to leave any comments or suggestions here. And then also, this is a very good question. How long did it take for one of the associates to follow it up with you? Within 24 hours. This is a great question, especially if we have new team members that come into our community. We want to see are they following up with the traffic? Because once our traffic leaves, they're going to go probably to another property and tour. We want to make sure that we're capturing those prospects within that 24-hour time period. If we scroll down to the bottom, this is a very really good question. Other properties considered, property 1, property 2, and property 3. So this particular prospect was also considering Greenwood Homes. This is a great indication is, if you start seeing these property names listed over and over within your prospect surveys, it's a great chance that you might want to add them to your competitors, and maybe go shop them as a comp to see what are they offering, what kind of amenities they have, what specials they have that they're driving traffic to their communities. We are also able to reach out to these prospects by just simply clicking on their email address and writing them a customized email. We can say, thank you for visiting our community. We can update them with pricing and specials, or if their unit comes available, click send. Once you do that, it's going to timestamp and date that email that you sent down here at the bottom. So your upper management, regionals, and your corporate team will be able to see how many prospects, how many residents that you've actually reached out to, because it's going to be listed under the notes section. Any questions on the prospect surveys, you guys? Have just a few more minutes and then we'll wrap it up. I just want to show you a couple more things. We're going to go into the trends tab, and this is going to be filtered for all of your surveys: resident, prospect, work orders, lease renewals, all of that. So trends tab, it's very cool. You're able to see how you're trending against your entire company and against the national average. Are you trending down, below, or right at your company or the national average? So we're in the resident survey section. You also have this keyword cloud here, just like we saw on the ratings tracker dashboard. So again, it's going to tell you this little key up here. If the word is in green, it's a survey that was scored 8 to 10, orange 5 to 7, and red 1 to 4. So the bigger and bolder that word is, the more oftentimes it was used within a survey. So this is a great indicator of, hey, we do have areas of opportunity in our community. You can simply just click on the word, and it's going to bring up every survey that had that word listed. Any questions so far? Okay, lastly, before we end the call today, it's going to be under the reports tab. You as a property manager are going to have a property summary report that's going to be emailed to you monthly. So if we were in the reports, it's the property summary report. Once the surveys start going in the future, you'll be able to go back and filter through dates to see how your property was trending previous month. We have our property name listed here, and all we have to do is select download. Once the report is ready, it's going to be up on this right-hand corner under this bell icon. I do have a sample one pulled up for you guys to kind of show you what exactly this entails. So the property summary report is going to give you a detailed report on how you're trending for all of your surveys. So this is going to start with your resident surveys. It's going to tell you for each question how you're trending. It's going to break it down for quarter over quarter. So you can see if you're trending up or down each quarter, and it's going to benchmark you against the national average. This very right column here is going to, if it's in green, you're trending above the national average. If it's in pink, you're trending below the national average. So these would be the items. Again, this is a sample one, so it's not Belmont, but these are the items that I would focus on. These are my biggest areas of opportunity as a community manager. If we scroll down the report, we're going to have one for prospects as well. So it's going to tell us and gauge how we are doing for each of the questions that were asked within the survey. And then also for work order and so forth. Lastly, it's going to give you your resident resolution response. So this is going to tell you all of the red alerts you've received. So it's going to have your property name listed here, how many red alerts you've received for each month, and how many were resolved. So we want to make sure that we are resolving all of our red alerts, again, within 24 business hours. This is a report that you can pull. Your executive team and corporate team will have this report as well. So they'll be able to see a breakdown of all of the communities within DLP to see how many outstanding red alerts they have for each community. All right, you guys, I want to thank you guys so much for hopping on the call on this Friday morning. I know this was a lot of information. I don't expect you guys to remember all of that. You guys had great questions. I'm going to type my email in the chat box. So if you guys need anything going forward, again, those of you who have not received a login credentials, if you want to send that to your executive team, they're going to get a whole list together, send it over to me, and I'll make sure I get that sent out to you guys. Vanessa, did you want to add anything before we ended the call?
No, I think as long as our teams are feeling good about this first kickoff, and we'll over the next 45 days before our next kind of refresh training, they're happy to reach out to myself, Amy, Reed, or Blake, and we can help with any questions.
Yes.
And then I'm sure as we continue to use the system, as questions come up, we'll make sure we communicate with you and keep driving forward.
Okay. Raquel, send that to Vanessa again. Who did you want them to send if they have not received their login credentials?
All login credential information, if you can just send it to remmarketing@dlpcapital.com. They all have that email. We're
Okay.
working with our IT department to see if there was something that was blocking it after we whitelisted the email
Gotcha.
communication. So I don't want to keep resending and resets if it's one issue that we
Right.
can fix on the back end to push out altogether. So we
Perfect.
will continue to work through that. So they can send everything to myself,
Uh,
Amy, Reed, and Blake through that email.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Do you guys have any questions before we end the call? I want to make sure that we answer anyone's questions that you guys may have.
I have one.